Hi, I'm Camille. So, what God with us, what it looks like for me. I remember when I was still in the Philippines, I attended this church service and they tried to differentiate um, how you experienced God before, then versus now. So, back in the days before Jesus' death and resurrection, people just couldn't come to God anytime they wanted. You needed um, a high priest to go to the tabernacle. There's a mediator. But when Jesus came, he became the ultimate high priest and the ultimate sacrifice once and for all. His death on the cross broke down the barrier between us and God. Now we have that direct access to him through faith, and the Holy Spirit lives in every believer, making God with us a reality. So when I started committing to following Christ back in 2019, my world crumbled. So everything crashed down, and there is no way I would have survived if God wasn't with me. Um, so let me give you a background what happened in 2019. On paper, it looked perfect at 28 years old. I was living in an upscale rented house in Manila. We bought an expensive car, fancy clothes, and we had our 1-year-old daughter. But inside, I felt empty and miserable. I was stuck in an abusive relationship, and we were surrounded by friends who only cared about money and looks. It felt like I should be happy. I felt successful, but I wasn't. I remember crying in the shower and asking God, like, God, is this it? Is this all that there is to life? And then that's when I started going to a small group run by an old friend from my university. But I remember clearly she warned me, saying, when you start following Jesus, you will experience a lot of challenges, a lot of troubles. It was a bit discouraging, but what she forgot to tell me was that God will always be with you through those storms. So just 4 months later, she was right. My world fell apart. My ex-partner, he was imprisoned. And that was the father of my child. I was jobless, then with all of my savings stolen by 2 policemen who threatened me at that time. And I had bills piling up, rent due, a car mortgage, and a 1-year-old to take care of. On top of that, the landlord, sorry, the landlord locked up all of our belongings, saying he'd keep them because my ex-partner owed him a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, just like that, I had nothing. I was broke, deep in debt, and I had to move back to my mom's. That was the lowest point of my life. But oddly, that's when I felt God's presence the most. And I still felt peace that I couldn't explain or understand. And what I did not realize then was that God was slowly rebuilding my life with a stronger foundation. My small group became my close friends. They kept me strong and constantly reminded me of God's promises. And then a month later, God used someone from that group to give me a job, which was enough to cover the car mortgage and to buy diapers every month. And then the pandemic hit. I started baking on the side, selling pies. But even then, God kept sending people to help me. He used friends who would reach out unexpectedly, offering financial support. And then over the next 3 years, my job turned into a blessing with promotions every year and salary raises every year. And that helped me get back on my feet. And then in 2023, I reconnected with an old friend who's now my husband. I visited the UK. We got engaged, got married the same year. We brought my daughter with me. We now have a car, our own home, and another baby on the way. So looking back, I can see how God was there with me every step of the way. And what he did was, he wiped the slate clean for me and removed all of the things and the people who did not serve me well. And he replaced them tenfold better. It was like he was telling me, let go. Everything's gonna be okay. I got this. So he hasn't just saved me from a difficult life. He's completely transformed it. And he's been with me through every up and down, guiding me toward a life full of purpose and hope.